Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Hobby Tech here, and this is part 8 of my DIY A320 Neo home cockpit build. So in part 8, we're going to talk about displays. Displays probably is the second most important, or even if not the first one, to create immersions in the simulation itself. So without the display, of course, you cannot see the outside world of out of your cockpit, and it's play a very important role in creating the total immersions effect of your home cockpit. So do apologize for a long due video from part 8, part 7, part 8, because as you can see in my YouTube playlist, I guess I've been distracted or actually getting away from the cockpit for a while. It's been quite intensive 1 year build and then playing it and then using it. It's quite intensive, and sometimes you get too much of one thing and then you have to get away. So I've been doing several other hobby, which is the mechanical keyboard. You can see in the video lately that I'm kind of involved in building a lot of keyboard. Now I have more than 20 keyboards right now being built and being customized with many switches and keycaps. Anyway, so let's go back into part 8 of the build video, which is talking about displays. As we gonna deep dive into how I'm going to set up my display, how I set up the display and how connected and everything. So let's take a look at the cockpit itself. So this is the photo of the cockpit. As you can see, the view inside. This is actually I activate the simulation and take photos, so you can see how it the effect of it. The lighting at this moment is using daylight, so it kind of like reflecting or simulating the daylight situations, like there's outside lights coming into windows, the cockpit windows, the front windshield into the cockpit, right? So you can see the sun somehow lighting the inside of the cockpit. But of course this is nighttime, so it's not proper, but you can do that. I'm using Philips Hue. I'm going to talk about that accessories that I'm using in the cockpit in the part 10, I guess, if not mistaken. So if you look to the display, there's almost 180 degree. If you put the seat, the cockpit, the pilot cockpit, the pilot seat to the correct position in the front, actually to the left and your right will be fully covered by this TV. Okay, and it's all actually more than 180 degree view. It could be up to 200 degree view if you are in the right position in the pilot seat. Talking about the monitors, we're going to talk about what monitors or TV, actually using TV that I'm using, and also several monitors and how I connect to the PC and things like that. Before we go forward, I think the first question will be why using TV. If you can see, and you probably see my first video or second video actually, talking about the 3D modeling of the cockpit itself. I put this cockpit inside a room, which is very small room, only 2 times 2.5 meters. So it's not very huge or big room. So it's very tight actually. This room initially being used for my FA-18 cockpit doing virtual reality flight, but then I want to build this cockpit and I don't want to create another room or rebuild the room. It takes a lot of effort, messy area, I have to do a gypsum constructions, metal frame, whatever, so it's too much. I thought myself, can I fit in anything inside this room? And dedicated this room into the A320 cockpit. So while tinkering with many options, including using projectors, but eventually I drop it, because if you use projector, at least you need at least 3 times 3 meters or even more to allow a short throw projectors to show the proper projection of the outside world, right? Even if you don't use, or short throw projectors is very expensive, inhibitedly expensive for me. And if you use cheaper one, 4K projectors, that will not be short throw. So you have to have a bigger room even to accommodate the whole vista, right? And it's going to be difficult also to cover more than 180 degree and alignment and everything. So that's why I choose TV. Okay, so we are using quite a large TV, but not that large. Actually, it's the main TV is actually 65 inch. We're gonna show you later on the spec, but yeah, 65 inch is, to me, is the sweet spot, because the value, the price, and the inch, the total 65 inch is quite affordable. Okay, beyond 65 inch, like 75 or even 85 or something, that will be very, very expensive, almost 50% more expensive than the 65 inch. So per inch is getting gradually more expensive, going bigger. So yeah, so this one is the TV set that I'm using, and you can see the angle is actually very tight. So it's not 120 degree or angle between TV, as what the experts usually said. This is actually almost 90 degree angle, but it's worked quite fine, because then you can later on adjust the angle or the view angle or lateral degree in Microsoft Flight Simulators. So it shows proper alignment on the horizons and everything. It's quite decent, not the best, I guess, Microsoft Flight Simulators on setting up the multi-monitors, but quite okay. I managed to set up this view quite nicely, and yeah, so you can see here. Also, we are not only going to talk about the main view, but also the multiple monitors on TV is being used around the cockpit. So I totally use I use around 8 TV and monitors connected to the main PC, and another 1 monitors, actually this one actually already put under this TV over here. This one is being used to show the display from the second PC, which record several webcams, OBS connected webcam for recording the action, actually. So you can see here, if you want to know, there were several webcam. So if you can find those. This one is one webcam here, so it give a kind of in the side of the pilot head view. So it's similar with the YouTube video. Usually it's put around this area. So this one is a Osbot 4K webcam, non-PTZ, so it's fixed angle. But it's very, very good camera. Yeah, so it can take very low light conditions nicely without a lot of noise. So it's Osbot 4K. This one is Razer 4K camera also. 4K? Oh no, yeah, 4K camera, I think. Yeah, this one is, but I'm using it for vertical shot toward this angle, so you can have a short YouTube short here or whatever toward this area. So it's fixed vertical camera. And also there's another one camera here below the FCU. You cannot see it, looking downward into MacDo. So if I want to show my MacDo input, I activate or kind of select this camera to be recorded from the OBS. The other one is actually this one. So this one is a very nice camera, very useful one. Is the Insta360 Link 4K camera. So it's a PTZ, so you can shot here, shot upwards, shot downwards, shot to the left, to the right. Well, it's very useful. So I have 6 positions set through Insta360 Link 4K camera here to shot various angle in just pressing some buttons in my button box. Okay, and then another one actually. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 webcam connected to the second PC. The other one is actually in my spectacles, the glasses. I put the camera there to when I take a look around, the camera will follow my view. So yeah, that's very interesting angle also. So those 5 camera is fetched through the second PC, and I can see it in my OBS monitor here that I put it here now. Now that will help me in looking around in monitoring the OBS recording. Okay, so that is the 9 monitors and TV being used in this setup. Okay, so so in this video, we're going to talk about how I set up the display inside the cockpit, so the frame and the positions, and also I'm going to talk about how many monitors. I've mentioned about 9 already, and how I connect the monitor to my PC, and how the arrangement of the monitor in Windows, and how to set up surround view and pop out instrument display in MS FS2020. This one is quick one, so I don't want to too long talking about how to do a setting in the MS FS2020. So that probably for another video, or you can take a look for other video from the others that already talk about that. Okay, so let's start with the position. So how I position the TV and all the monitors that I'm using. So the main 3 TV, the 4K 65-inch TV, I put that under the on top of the frame. Actually, the frame is I built myself using a metal tube, a square metal tube that I welded and put a wheel, a caster wheel, in the each of the sides, so I can actually kind of like fold it and then bring it outside the room. But anyway, with the cockpit inside, you cannot move it anyway. So I usually attach this to the wall so it doesn't wobble or kind of move around. So there's a lock in the caster wheel also, but I then kind of put a bracket here just to secure this frame into the wall, and so it's gonna make a steady conditions or to hold the TV, this big TV, 65-inch. In around the cockpit. So actually this cockpit rendering is without the windows, the windshield and everything from the cockpit, and the cover, the top cover. So it's basically still a bare design, but there will be a kind of a side windshield or windows and side frame or structures to cover this whole inside, to get inside the cockpit feel. This is the TV, and there's 2 monitors. Actually, this is a 19-inch and 22-inch, and this in rotated clockwise, and also another monitor here in the Mac2, built in, actually included in the Java Simulator Mac2 kit already. So it's not mine. So, but we're gonna talk about that. And the 2 monitor here, and also another one actually here for the EFB or electronic flatback. So let's number the TV. So this is the positioning of the TV without the frame and everything, so you can see how it looks. So the left TV, the 65-inch 4K TV is number 1, number 2, and number 3. And then the number 4 is actually the PFD and navigational primary flight display and navigational display monitor. So I'm using a smaller monitor here in this position, and then the eCam, and also the FS, the backup, sorry, not the FS, backup altimeters instrument that is also using these monitors. And number 6 is MacDo LCD display here, and then number 7 is the EFB. So this is also a monitors, not a tablet. So I can just kind of duplicate or pop out the instrument on the EFB directly into these monitors. And the number 8 is actually for my applications, window application for the main PC. And number 9 is actually connected into the second PC to show OBS recording from the webcams that I just mentioned before. So there's the position of totally 8 monitors and TV connected to the main PC, and 1 monitor connected to the secondary or recording PC. Okay. Now, how do I connect those TV and monitors into my PC? So I got two PC. Sorry, before that. Sorry. So now, how I so what is the monitors and the specifications and the TV itself? So for the main display, so what is the specifications of the TV and the monitors? So let's take a look on the specifications. For the main TV or display, to display the external view of the cockpit, I'm using, on the left is 4K TV, 65 inch. The brand is Changhong, so it's from China. So it's quite cheap, quite nice, but not as good as the main or center one. The center one, I'm using another 4K TV. The brand is Kuka, 65 inch also, and the right 4K TV Changhong, 65 inch. So it's quite odd because it's different brand, right? Yes, unfortunately, I don't want to spend. So I initially bought Kuka 65 inch, so it's much more kind of contrasty looks and very nice, very good view on the TV, but it's more expensive brand. I think it's a local brand or a rebrand product. I don't know, but I don't think you can find it outside Indonesia. So Kuka is kind of nicer pictures, more vivid, more contrast, but it's more expensive. So I don't want to spend that much. So then I decided to, well, save a cost a bit, and then bought a Changhong brand 65 inch 4K TV. Now, the problem is there will be a slight difference in tint, the vividness and the contrast of the pictures, but I tried to set up all the three to kind of blend, I did it quite okay, but again, you can, if you look carefully, you notice that the contrast of the Changhong and the Kuka is a bit different. Kuka, the black and the black and bright, or contrast we call it, is much better than Changhong, for example. So yeah, so the left and right was a bit not as contrasty as the main center screen. But anyway, you look mostly to forward position anyway, so should be okay. Anyway, I accept that deficiency in regard of in consideration of the cost. Okay, so that's my decision. But if you build new, better buy a similar or same brand, and even if possible the same batch kind of product. But of course you cannot do that easily because you don't know which batch is being sold or already mixed. Sometimes because each production have different kind of quality, of course, in general. But same brand should suffice because it probably give you much more similar or kind of more consistent vividness and contrast between the screen. For other monitors, number 4 is for PFD and ND. I'm using a monitor. It's actually an HD, which is 1440p times 900p pixel. The brand is SPC. It's a Taiwanese, I think a local rebrand again. But yeah, you can use any good quality 19 inch should be sufficient to cover PFD and ND because it's actually just right on the 19 inch, putting in a horizontal or landscape positions. The fifth actually for the eCam, I'm using a monitor. It is a full HD monitor, 1920p times 1080p pixel. The brand is similar, which is SPC. This time it's 22 inch, but I rotate it clockwise 90 degree. Okay, be careful rotating this counterclockwise or clockwise. I think I do it clockwise if not mistaken. So the lower bezel is over here. If you make it counterclockwise, I think you will not be able. I forgot. Sorry, I put it not clockwise but counterclockwise. So the lower bezel is here. Why was that? I think if not mistaken, I forgot. But you have to check again. You better check. There's an angle, a few angle. I think it's bigger top down rather than bottom up. So there, the LCD panel maker usually have a limited angle of view. Of course, if you bought very good monitors with a wide view angles, it won't matter. But because I'm using a cheaper one, there's an angle limitations if you look from downward or upward view of the monitors, right? So if you do in a very shorter angle, you're gonna see a faded picture, not contrasty at all, because it's a limiting angle of view. So you have to be straightforward looking at the monitors, then you can see it contrast is good. But because you're sitting off angle from the monitor around here, the head, you see it angle toward this monitor, right? The other I think is quite okay, but this one is very particular. You have to check which angle, either clockwise or counterclockwise, that you can see when you're sitting in the pilot or the co-pilot positions. That really is. If you have both activated, the co-pilot and pilot, you better buy a very good monitors with a wide angle of view. Okay, that's my my kind of cautions to you. The next one is actually for MacDo. For MacDo, it's built in from the MacDo itself from Java simulators. It's actually an LCD display. I think it's a 5-inch LCD display. If not mistaken, it's 800 times 600 pixels HDMI with the ratio of 4:3. Okay, so it's much more boxy rather than the landscape view. Okay, so that's the 6 monitor here. The 7 monitors I put it here is the EFB, so electronic flight bag. It's a full HD monitors, 1920p times 1080p. You can use any. I think it's a China generic brand. I forgot the brand though. It's just a 10-inch cheap China full HD, but it's quite contrasty, so it's okay. I'm not using tablet. I tried tablet, and then but the problem for the tablet is the software. In this case, fly-by-wire A320NX do not provide an external application in Android to imitate the EFB, right? So it's just popping out the EFB from the flight simulators into the display, which then it's useless to use the tablet because it's going to be a monitor. This monitor actually have a touch screen. You can use it, but I don't activate the touch screen because I think it's quite finicky on doing a touch screen on the EFB itself, emulating the mouse. The next one is actually the PC windows here. This is for showing the applications being used in the main PC, like Mobile Flight, Soundpad, and any other software that is not usually it's being covered by triple screen of the MS FS2020, right? But you need to see what's happened in the Mobile Flight. If you're debugging or something, then you have to alt tab to the Mobile Flight, so it's going to be showing up in the main screen, right? So not so good, and I don't want that to happen. So I move all the background applications which I need to see into these monitors. Okay. So it's a full HD only. I can initially I think I used the 4K one, but yeah, it's okay to use the full HD because I don't need too many software or applications to be shown off. Just probably the Soundpad, the touch portal, and also the Mobile Flight, of course, and sometimes Philips Hues just to control some of the ambience lighting. Later on I'm going to explain that, but yeah, those kind of software I put it here so I can see it. And then the 9 monitors, of course, is for recording PC to the second PC to show OBS here, the webcam situation here, or controlling the PTZ or the angle of the Insta360 link. If it's stuck, sometimes it's stuck because if you don't select the software, it won't move. So I need to kind of again select the software, just highlight the software, then it will respond to the button box, for example. So this is also the full HD monitors, but this one is both of this is actually 24-inch monitor, so it's quite large, and then I can see more item here. Okay, so that is all the 9 monitors and TV that's being used with this kind of setup. So now how I connect all those monitors into the PC, right? So what kind of connections, what is the, so let's see. So the first PC I'm going to talk is about the recording PC, which is the second PC that I use for recording. I'm using AMD 5950X. This is my old gaming PC, actually older one, not too old, but it's older one with 32 gigabyte DDR4, 3 times 1 terabyte SSD, and actually I still use RTX 3080 here, and of course the other specs. I think the motherboard, if I'm not mistaken, is the I forgot the motherboard. Anyway, it's just a basic motherboard. I think it's B50 550. Yeah, if I'm mistaken. Yeah, B554 550. Then all the webcam are connected to the PC here. Not only 3 but 5 webcam, as I mentioned before, is connected to this PC and allow me to select which camera is being recorded in the OBS. Yeah, so later I'm going to talk about how to connect this 9 monitors. So it's simply connect to HDMI basically. So the main PC actually is powered by AMD latest AMD 7950X3D. I have a build video for both this PC, and we're going to talk about this PC actually in the part 9 of this video, because it's kind of required, because if you don't have quite a good enough PC, it's going to be suffered with wow, there's a thunderstorm outside my room. It's gonna take it's gonna cause a lot of stutter, okay, and it's quite you won't get a fluid simulation anyway, because it's a lot of monitors to handle. And yeah, so that's gonna, I put a lot of money to beef up the main PC to ensure that everything is running smooth. This is a 64 gigabyte. Of course you don't need DDR5, but yeah, just to be safe. And 2 times 2 terabyte SSD. One is actually the faster one, yeah. And then the ordinary 2 times 1 terabyte SSD. To power the graphics, I'm using the external graphic card, or sorry, the video card, which is RTX 4090, the main video card. And then I have another one, it's the GTX 1080 Ti. Wow, I'm using 2. Yes, I'm using 2. So I'll talk about it later on. Actually, the alternate for this setup actually just use 1, and then to cover the rest of the display is using USB graphic card, right? Using USB connected graphic card. But as you can see, I need 4 or even 5 graphic card here. Outside of this, I'll talk about that, and it's going to suffer a lot in the USB bandwidth of your PC. So it won't work in my case, and it creates a lot of problem in the display, sometimes connected, sometimes not connected, with using the USB graphic card. So I decided to, when I upgrade this PC, I'm gonna use 2 graphic card. It's not connected to each other. It's just a different graphic card basically. So it's not going to show like a wide screen, wide what do you call it? Yes, wide resolutions kind of setup. It's only just ordinary 4K, but it's a separate video card available for you. Okay. So the connection will be like this. So the main one, which is the main TV, is connected directly to my HDMI of the RTX 4090. Because only one HDMI provided in the card, I'm using DisplayPort to HDMI converter. I'm using quite a quality brand. I think Ugreen from China. It's quite good, the black one. I think that's the brand that is available here, but it's a high quality one. So I think it's able to show it's compatible of HDMI 2.0 60 Hertz 4K. Okay, so it's can handle that. So yes, so the second TV, the center one, connected to the DisplayPort 1. through the DP to HDMI converter. Well, you can swap the main one using HDMI or else it's okay. The quality is quite reliable. So the third one is similar to the DisplayPort 2. This is the main right. So main left, main center, main right. So this only 3 connected to RTX 4090. I connect only 3 because I want to ensure that the RTX 4090 only responsible to render the main scenery of the flight simulator itself. Okay, I don't want this one to cover the PFD, NAND, and other monitors, although they are quite low in terms of the requirement. Okay, and the power of the GPU required, because it's mostly 2D. This one is the main 3D rendering basically. Okay, then the number 4, the PFD ND, directly connected to my HDMI from the GTX 1080 Ti. And then the eCam is connected to the DisplayPort 1 through a DP to HDMI converter. And then the 6 on the MacDo display. This is connected to my second DisplayPort using DP to HDMI. And the EFD is connected to my third DisplayPort using a DP to HDMI converter. So the GTX 1080 Ti actually handle more monitors, but because this is mostly lower resolutions, this one is 1440p, right? Or 1440p times 900. Sorry, so it's 900p display, so HD only, and then full HD, which is 1920 times 1080p, and then this is also full HD. This one even lower also because it's only 800 times 600p. So although this card handle more, but basically they just handle 4K basically, because if we combine all these monitors together, it's actually less than 4K resolutions. So that is for GTX 1080 Ti to handle, and also because it's kind of very low resources required, because it's mostly rendering 2D display in this 4 display, while this one, despite it's only 3 connected, but it will render full digital 3D display with 3 times 4K resolution. So it's almost like in total all of this card is actually equal to 8K resolution. Yeah, because 8K is similar to 4K times 4, right, combined. So this one is 4K, this one is 4K. So combine all this required as to render almost 8K in a very good FPS, right, frame per seconds. So with this setup, I think I'm able to, well, quite sustainably render around 30 FPS, even more in some scene. Yeah, so it's okay. So it's doable. Yeah. Another one, actually, the 8 monitors here to show my application from the main PC is connected directly to the onboard GPU. So this is actually very nice. Rather than I put this one to the main RTX 4090, for example, and rob a bit of the power to show this 2D application or normal Windows, I put them separate into the onboard GPU, because AMD 7950X 3D already included a GPU, on-chip GPU, right? So the motherboard usually provide the onboard HDMI or DisplayPort, but in this case, for example, on 5950X, although the motherboard already provide the HDMI connectors, I cannot use it because the CPU don't have any onboard GPU. But 7950X 3D, despite it's a 16-core, very powerful powerhouse CPU, they have onboard GPU. Wow, so this one is very useful. You can use this one for kind of debugging your motherboard, whatever, but in this case, I'm using it also to display the Windows. Okay, and it's very low resource required. Anyway, so that's the main PC setup. On the second PC, very simple. You just connect to HDMI of the RTX 3080 to show these monitors of the showing OBS. I don't need very fancy resolution, whatever. So it's a full HD just to show OBS and several control of my webcam camera. Okay, so that's it. So that is the connector. Because I'm putting my PC outside the room because I don't have any space anyway here, and also it's going to be very noisy and very hard probably because all this PC will the main PC will be working very hard. I'm putting both of them outside the room, and all the cable here are quite long, almost 5 meters. So these three are using a 5 meters HDMI high quality cables. Ensure it's going to be high quality with good shielding and thick copper inside to ensure the signal don't degrade when it's travel. And sometimes if degrade, you cannot even achieve 4K 60 hertz. Probably end up in 30 hertz only. So ensure a good cables, buy a good 5 meters cables, and the rest, almost the rest is using all are using HDMI cables. So mostly are 5 meters. I think the shorter one probably 3 meters. The rest are using good quality 5 meters cable. Okay. So that's how I connect all the monitors and TV into the PC. I'm not going to talk about the PC. I'm going to talk about this PC on the part 9. I'm going to talk why you required certain aspect or feature of the PC, including the case, this dual GPU setup. I won't talk about it. There's another video when I build it. But I'm going to talk briefly on why I need certain setup, certain motherboard, certain case to allow this kind of setup. Okay, now let's talk about the next one, which is the setting in the Windows. So basically you have to go to display, the system, in the configuration or the device managers or the system setting actually. So in the system setting, you click display, and then you will show all the display that you have. You have 8 at least monitor and TV going to be shown here. Okay, so this is the menu that you would like to fiddle around to ensure that it's proper. Now initially you're going to be shown like this. So Windows will just put everything on a row in one row, and that's it. The problem with this, yes, you can do that, no problem. You can move the instrument display to each monitors, no issues. But if you move the mouse from when you select something in this monitor, for example, you want to interact with something here in the first TV or monitors, let's say, and you want to interact something in the 8 monitors, it will have to scroll the mouse all the way to the right or on the opposite side. Okay, from this smaller window monitors to the main monitor, it will take some times, or even you have to move your mouse or scroll wheel several times, right? So that's not good. So I would suggest that you arrange the monitor. I did arrange the monitor something like this. So this is the left TV, center TV, right TV. So this is the main screen, the 4K one, 4K TV 65 inch, and below actually the PFD and ND. So logically, if you want to select or move something to this window, let's say you want to drag and drop from the instrument into this one, so you're logically gonna go down here and then put it here, right? So it's almost accurate, not really because it's not one-to-one, but at least logically you're going down here. Also to the eCam down here, so this is also rotated 90 degree, either clockwise or counterclockwise, please check. And then the 6 on the MacDo, I put it here. So it's not the way down here, but it's here. It's okay. Actually touching each other, so it's not going to, the mouse will not missing in between the monitors display. The 7 one, actually this one is the EFB, so I put it up there. Why I didn't put it here or here? Basically because if I want to move from here to the FB, I just move up my mouse and then I will be in the FB. So it's actually quite fast on accessing the FB rather than putting here or somewhere around here. It will take sometimes to move my mouse or going to be very far away here. So this one is actually for applications, the Windows, showing Windows applications like MobiFlight and everything here. So I can just move the mouse upward, and then it will the mouse will be already in in these monitors on my right side. Okay, so that's how I set up. This is after this setup, you have to ensure this remember Windows location based on monitor connection is ticked, because if not, every time you boot, it will go back into this one again. Right? So if you tick this one, it will remember the positions that you have already set up. Most of the time it works, except for this rotated 90 degree. I don't know why. Windows keep forgetting. On some occasions, they go back into landscape again, and I have to rotate again 90 degree. And the problem is, I think it's moved somewhere else, so it's have to rearrange again, and sometimes the display or the instrument display is changed. The position will change, right? So I hate it, but it happens sometimes. Not every time, but I don't know what triggers it. If anybody knows about it, let me know in the comments. I just quite annoying. Now the other one is make this main display. So usually you want to choose number 2 here or number 1, whatever. Your center 4K 65 inch as the main display, because that will display the FS2020 FS2020 when it's booted up. It will show in this main screen, right? Because it's only show in the main Windows, not in the. If you set up here, the Microsoft Flight Simulator will show here. Okay, it's going to be awkward to look to the right to see the main MSFS booted up. Okay, and all the menu first time will show in the main Windows. So that's the only setup that you need to ensure. Of course, everything will be the extended display, not duplicate or mirror, because everything will be on its own. It's also not panoramic display, whatever it is. It's just one. It's a separate display, but it has 8 monitors connected. That's it. You don't need to connect each other or link each other, becoming one resolution big monitors. Don't need it. That will cause a lot of problem actually. Okay, so that is the setup in the Windows. There might be more advanced, like the color, the hertz, or the frame rate down below the setting, but you don't need to change it if it's working well. So this is just some pictures or photo about the construction. So the FD and PFD, ND and PFD monitors behind the panels is actually in the test fit positions. This one is the 22-inch monitors. Actually, this one is using my old 19-inch Samsung, but it's broken, so I replaced it with SPC, as I mentioned before. And also, this one is actually 24-inch generic brand, cheap one, and it's also broken. I think when I put it there, I hit it with something, it's just broken. This one is actually also, the resolution is not that sharp. So both of these already replaced by 19-inch SPC brand. This one is 22-inch SPC brand, also in the rotated format. Okay, this one is behind the panels. So I don't put any foam in here. It's because it doesn't really touch it. The panel don't touch this frame. I think it's quite safe. You can put a bracket here, and actually the monitor is being sandwiched by the board and the bracket. So from behind, you can see I already dismantled the plastic frame of the monitors, so you don't need the plastic frame. So enclosure basically is gone. This one also gone. So I just attached the board or the controller board into the back of the panels. Of course, you have to put some isolating materials like acrylics or thick plastic to ensure there's no short circuit, because it's a metal backplate, right? This one is a metal backplate. So this one using acrylic, 2mm thick acrylic, just to put everything. I hot glued everything. Actually, if you want to go put back into a TV or monitor, it's quite easily done. But this one is hot glue, so it's quite safe, and it's actually being pinched or being sandwiched in the bracket here from the wood panel, the panel of the MDF panel. Sorry. So so this one is from behind. So for those 19-inch and 22-inch This one is the AFB. It's basically a 10-inch full HD monitors. It's quite sharp, quite contrast, so I like that. And actually it's a touchscreen, so I have a touchpad, touchpad that I can select, but it's quite finicky when I tried it, so I disable it. I don't connect the touch controller into the USB. It's okay. So basically you have to control with your mouse. Basically I'm not using a mouse. I'm using a ball mouse. Just very easy to control with a very tight space. This one is a finished product for the PFD, ND, and the eCam, and also for the MacDo from the Java simulators. Yeah, so you have to arrange the display properly here. I'm going to talk about it later. Also, this standby altimeters. It's also using the 22 monitors here. Yeah, you have to resize the instrument display to fit this opening here. So you can see here there's application windows, and this one actually is the main right TV, but I'm using A-18C HUD to control ATC, and I show it here, and I put a board here. It's actually MDF panels, a 6mm MDF panels painted in black, but with a cutout here to show this ATC HUD controller. Just to ensure that I have a feeling of being in a cockpit with this shade. So if not, it's gonna be bare TV showing everything outside. So it's kind of like not too accurate. So I put this kind of simulating if you see from your pilot seat, it will be like this is continuation of the cockpit, the FCU panel, FS, and then the window itself, something like that. So it's a kind of like a 2D, but it's just ensuring like if you see from the pilot seat, it's feel like you are in the cockpit. Okay. If you can see the application here, I put a sound pad. I'm putting my MobiFlight monitoring software here, the main MobiFlight here with the debug windows scrolling here, and also a touch portal, because I'm using touch portal to sound my co-pilot's voices, for example, and then also the Java simulator software, and Philip Hughes and some other software. Sometimes I put it here just in case I need it. This one is full HD monitors down below, 24-inch. Okay, so yeah, quite handy. This is my Philip Hue hub down below. So one more thing, I show you this reflective tape here, almost like a chrome. If you can see here in the main screen, you don't see any bezel right away, right? You might see some here and here, but because I already put this reflective tape in here, so basically I cut around, so I put a strip of tape along the edges or the joint of these two monitors to cover the bezels. Basically it's 2-3 centimeters wide, just enough to cover the bezel of the TV from both sides. When I think one is actually covering each other, but you still see the black bezels showing off here, right? If your TV have a chrome bezel, I think it's quite okay, but if not, you can use these tricks just to ensure that it's seamless. It looks seamless actually, but it's not. Actually, it's a bezel here. It's quite thick, actually almost 2 centimeters wide from one to another. And just using this trick is already give you a good blend of the three monitors together. There are some tricks like using Asus, I think using kind of certain plexiglass, very expensive one, but you cannot find for 65-inch TV, probably only for 32 max, or even that using two polycarbonate plate, but that's very rare, also very difficult. So I'm thinking around how I'm gonna do this, but I've tried this one and it works very well. So I rarely notice any bezel here during the flights, especially on the daylight scene. The daylight scene is much better because it's bright and it's kind of blend, reflect each other's screen, and it's kind of like trying to blend. You can see here it's like blending, right? But actually there's a tape like this with 2 or 3 centimeters wide. I think it's 2.5 centimeters, if I'm not mistaken, just enough to cover the bezel. So this is just a simple trick you can use to blend your triple monitors if you want to, without buying a very expensive mirror system, whatever. Okay, that's it. Then we move into Microsoft Flight Simulators. Sorry for low resolution. I'm copying someone else from the forum. Sorry about that. But just trying to set up the surround or triple screen monitors is using a menu from general options here, and then select experimental, and you add window 1, window 2, and window 3. So you set up window 1 usually in the left or in the main screen, usually here. The window 2 or 3 or for the left and right, and you select the resolution and the full screen, of course, and then you change the lateral degree to reflect the horizon's alignment. And so it should be aligned, the horizon, from left, center, and right. So usually you pick open area, or you pick several area in the airport to try to align as much as possible between left, center, and right. So it's a kind of experimental a bit, but once you get hang of it, you can try to fine-tune the angle of the left, center, and right, despite your monitors or TV actually is 90-degree angle toward you, right, in from the cockpit area, from the center of the pilot seat. So you have to align so you can see from left, center, and right. Looks like you see continuous view. Okay, so you have to fiddle around with lateral rotation effect and vertical rotation, and also roll offset. So you can try to change a bit and then try to find out which one is giving you the best seamless transition between left, center, and right TV. Okay, so this is the important setting in the MS FS2020. And the next one is definitely to pop out the instrument display toward your PF 19-inch or 22-inch for the ECAM, and also for the MacDo, and also for EFB. So simple, you hold right Alt on your keyboard, and then left click on your mouse on top of the display here that you want to pop out. Once you click it, it will immediately pop out like this. In the new after SIM update, not system update, after SIM update 12, I think the mechanism is not, usually when you pop out, it will gather into one big windows, and then everything will be in that window, and then you have to make them becoming one by one like this. But after SIM update 12, it is immediately pop out as a single individual windows like this. So once you pop out everything like this, PFD, ND, and ECAM, upper ECAM, lower ECAM, MacDo, backup altimeters, and EFB, once all those screens are pop out like this, then you can try to put into the right monitors. So once you pop out like this, you can then drag your display into the right position, try to align it, try to stretch it, try to drag a bit, move a bit. Yeah, it's quite takes some times. But after SIM update, not system update 12, I think FS 2020 will remember where the pop out windows will be. So you don't need to, initially before SIM update 12, you have to reposition again every time you enter the simulator. So it's really annoying. So there you should be installing application or add-on to help you that. But since SIM update 12, I no longer use that applications, because I try to reduce as much as possible application that I'm using, right? I'm using ATC HUD, and then also some other application that I end up using a lot of software in my main PC. So that will rob a bit of the CPU power anyway. So I try to reduce as much as possible the applications being used in the cockpit. So yeah, so I'm using FS2020 feature itself, so it can remember the position once you align. Every time you start up or enter the A320 fly-by-wire, and then you pop out every windows, it will immediately goes into its position correctly. Okay, so I'm popping out one by one again, not using application. You can use that add-on, of course, if you want to. I forgot the name, but I'm using a manual pop out. But I click out right and then click this one, click it will goes into the right position, including this one. Except for McDo and EFB, I didn't automatically resize it, so it's kind of in the wrong size because the resolution of this display is different from the others. I think it's kind of weird, but anyway, so you have to adjust the stretch or make it full screen. Make it full screen once you select to ensure it will occupy the whole screen of the MacDo. That's the only caveat that I forgot to mention. The rest I think is quite okay, including this one. Once you make it full screen to occupy the whole monitor here, the display, it will properly show like this. Okay, so that is the things that you need to do inside the cockpit as the final steps before you start doing anything in the cockpit. So usually I prep the display first before I really start the simulation and the recording, of course. Okay, so that's it. That's the discussion about the display. I hope it's not quite, I think it's quite long, almost an hour. I'm blabbering about the display, but I think it's one of the most important aspect of your simulations, and I think you have to design this in advance because once you select the option of to use a projector or the TV or whatever it is, it will make the way you design the cockpit will be different, right? So it's part of the initial design that you have to consider. Mine, with the size that I giving. By the way, I already giving out the files in my Google Drive. The link is down below. You can ask me the access. I will share it. Don't worry. You can measure how large my cockpit. The size actually almost accurate. I design it using SketchUp first, and then I try to be as accurate as possible from my initial design. There might be some difference in the details, but the overall size is still true. I try also to simulate as much as accurate for the real aircraft anyway. So yeah, the measurement should be almost correct. There might be some differences here and there, but yeah. So you can find out and also I simulate the position of the TV in the SketchUp. So I need to know how big is the cockpit framework, the frame and the enclosures, to ensure that it's fit between the TV, right, and my room, of course, and also where I put the monitors and everything. So yeah, so the SketchUp design is almost accurate. Okay. So that's it. I think it's quite a long video. Hopefully you find some interesting point or design point of view or design consideration that might be useful in your future and your current build of the cockpit. Okay, so see you in the next video, part 9, which will talk about quickly about the PC itself. It's another major components that have to be kind of design or considered because if you don't have a powerful PC, well, you can get away with it, but you can get away with it with a smaller resolution. I'm using 4K, triple 4K, so it is really demanding currently, even with all the features or the from NVIDIA. It's still gonna be suffering a bit, but not as much as if you don't have a good system. And if you don't have a good system, you have to consider lower your resolution. But then with this close distance of the monitors toward you or your eyes, 4K is definitely eye candy at this moment. Yeah, it's really immersive. Okay, I know. Hopefully, it's gonna be useful for you. I gonna end the video this at this moment. Okay, see you in another video, especially part 9. Bye bye.